Tell you what, let's go ahead and start without Carl. He'll slip back in a minute. Welcome to Commissioners Court, our first meeting of the month of October 13th, 2015, and it's 9 a.m. and we're going to begin. If you'll join me and stand, we'll have a prayer and a pledge of allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you today thanking you for the new fall cool weather. We just praise your name, give you the glory, and thank you for being here amongst us. Guide this meeting, Lord, that we might make decisions that are appropriate for this county and for the folks that live here. Grant us wisdom. We just ask your blessing upon the elected officials and all the employees of the county. Equip us, Lord, with the skills and the tools to do our job as it needs to be done. We ask now that you would preside over this. We ask for your protection of all of our servicemen and women, and we just ask for your blessings upon the people of this county and strengthen our economy that all may have jobs. And we just pray for our law enforcement and for their safety, and we just thank you for the commitment that our first responders have. We give you the praise once again in Christ's name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number one is public comments, requests for information on non-agenda items in accordance with Section 551.042 of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Is anyone signed up to speak? Would anyone like to speak at this time? I'll move on to item number 2, 3, 4, and 5, and I'm going to ask for approval as a group, but if there's any specific discussions on any one of these particular sets of minutes, please let me know. Let me briefly review what these are. First one is from September 21. This was one of our hearing nights. The 24th was our another hearing night, and the 28th was regular Commissioners Court meeting.
Judge, I make a motion to approve all four.
I have a motion from Commissioner Hinton for the approval of all four of these sets of minutes to include the September 21 public hearing, September 24 special meeting, September 24 public hearing, and the September 28 special meeting. All those in favor say aye. Thank you. That was a second by Commissioner Parker. All right, item number 6, consider and possibly approve the hiring of Mr. Ron Medlin with Buy Cobra to administer COBRA participants related to our vision insurance. And would anyone like to introduce Ron? You want me to start off just and ask Ron to introduce himself? Steve, how about you? That'd be great. Welcome, Steve Capps.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Ron what he does is do COBRA administration, and right now UHC or UMR is doing your COBRA administration for your medical, all your other coverages with except vision, okay? And in order to pull that responsibility off your staff, we brought Ron to visit with you about what he does. We use him in our office to manage all of our COBRA administration, so he does a good job, very comfortable with his services, and when we wanted to think about pulling that responsibility off of you, Ron would be the one we would recommend. So Ron.
Hey Steve, would you briefly just refresh everybody in our newspaper, what is COBRA, how does it affect the county, how does it affect employees that leave the county?
Okay, well, you have responsibilities COBRA Act, and Ron probably would do a better job at that than I would, but you do have a responsibility to offer coverage to employees that are terminated or leave, to be able to continue that coverage for a period of time. And the period of time depends on the circumstances. But you do have a responsibility there. The employees are responsible for paying their premium. You don't have to pay that part. But you, as a county or as an employer, you have to offer or to allow them to stay on the coverage, and they have to be elected within 60 days, 61 days in order to be able to stay on there, so. But it is a bit of an administrative headache, you know, to try to keep up with that, because there's a certain notification that has to be sent in a timely manner, and if you fail to do that, you wind up providing coverage for somebody that you intended for, you know, so, anyway. But, Ron, Ron,
Okay, welcome, Mr. Medlin. Thanks for coming up here today.
Thank you. COBRA is a federal law required to provide additional insurance coverage for anybody that is terminated or retires. It starts at the 20 employees, not 20 covered employees, 20 employees. If you have benefits for those employees, health, dental, vision, FSA, HRA, those kind of things, then you have to offer coverage under federal law. Federal law says that you are responsible, the employer is responsible for COBRA. What we do is take COBRA administration away from the employer and do the background part of it. That means when somebody is hired in, we send them a general notice letter, required letter. That goes out to the employee, and if he has any dependents covered under the same plan, it goes out to any dependents or Mr. and Mrs., whatever. That can be a spouse. Domestic is now involved in there, that's up to you. The children, foster children, anything like that. Anybody that's going to be covered, the letter has to go. It has to be mailed first class so that it goes to the home. You can't just pass it out. If the employee is covered and his spouse is covered, you give it to him, it goes in the trash and she never sees it. It gives her future rights. When someone terminates, then the reverse is true. Then you have to mail a letter to the employee and any covered dependents and give them their current rights, the rates, what their benefits are that they're going on, that are available for COBRA, how long they have to enroll in COBRA, when it starts, anything about Obamacare that has come up, anything of that nature, it's all in that letter. I do have in this book copies of the letter for you. Now, once that goes out, then the employee has 60 days from the date of the letter or the date of termination, whichever is later, to enroll in COBRA. They then go back to the loss of coverage date. So if they terminated today, state law says they cannot be terminated off your benefit plan until the end of the month. The COBRA letter could go out tomorrow, but their 60 days doesn't start until the first of the month. Then they have 60 days to elect. They can elect any time during that 60-day period. Once that 60-day period is over, we have to notify them that they are no longer eligible. If they elect COBRA, anybody can pay for it. We have lawyers, we have family members, we have hospitals, we have clinics. Anybody can pay the premium for a person on COBRA. I'll give you an example of that.
If that ended of their coverage was October 31st, and they had 60 days, and they didn't tell us until December 15th, is it retroactive back?
It is retroactive back to the loss of coverage date. 5 years ago, we had a hospital call us and say, is this guy still eligible for COBRA? We said yes. They sent us a check for $700. He had a heart attack, open heart surgery, and everything else. The hospital paid $700. 2 weeks later, he died. They collected $170,000 from the insurance company, paying $700. So you get a lot of that. A lot of hospitals do the payments on those type of things. So you have to be very strict with what you do. You can't set a precedent with one employee that you don't want to do the same thing for other employees. Now, if you have an agreement with somebody, if they terminate and you give them severance pay, you can pay for the premium for them for a couple of months. But there are 18 months that they get for being on COBRA starts now. And in addition to that, in the state of Texas, it says you must give them an additional 6 months on health only. Health only, dental and vision don't count in Texas. So somebody could actually be on COBRA 24 months. If you get a divorce, your spouse or any dependent children turning age 26 can stay on COBRA 36 months plus an additional 6 months for health. So they could get 42 months. We see a lot of that in retirement. The guy retires at age 65, his wife is 63, she stays on COBRA for a couple of years, then goes on Medicare, they're off and running. So you see a lot of that. But you have to be very careful with COBRA. If you were to go to court on COBRA, federal court, you're out $100,000 immediately. If you lose, you're also out the attorney fees for the person that's suing you, and your attorney fees also. The IRS is a preemptive auditor for COBRA. In other words, they would send the county a statements and we're coming in to audit. And they're going to tell you in that letter what they want to audit, what factors they want, what pages they want, this. The DOL audits, Department of Labor audits on claims only. Somebody complains, they send you a letter, say we're coming in, this person is complaining, we want this information. Any letter that we send out, a COBRA administrator or you, if you're doing it yourself, send out, you have to keep an exact copy. Their system keeps an exact copy. Now in the state of Texas, we have a 2-year limitation. The IRS follows that. But the IRS has one other thing. They can go back to till when you became eligible for COBRA. 20 employees. So there's some differences there. Usually they don't, if they find something wrong on an audit, they then will go back. And that's what COBRA is. So what we do is we send out the letters, we keep an exact copy in their system. We keep up with everybody that's in the system that has what any benefit. In this case, we're talking about vision. We're doing the vision part of it. But we keep up with all those people that are on vision. And then we send them out a general notice to give them their future rights. And we get calls just like everybody else. Did I get terminated? When did I get this COBRA letter? No, it says future rights in the first line. When we send out the COBRA letter, then we take all the phone calls. We tell all of our clients, don't answer a question on COBRA, because that can be held against you in federal court. Whatever you said, it was wrong, it can be held against you, and they believe the complainee and not you. So that's what COBRA is. Are there any questions, anything I didn't answer?
You'll handle this for us for our vision insurance. We've got it covered, Steve, by UMR for our health insurance, which is what I consider to be the really important one. Not that vision's not important, but vision is a benefit that is paid. Is it paid 100% by the employee? Okay, so it's a little bit different animal, but I can appreciate the administrative responsibilities that we've got here. What is your fee to do something like this for Titus County?
We work with CAPS. CAPS asked us to do some things for us. Our minimum is $50 a month. That's all we're going to charge them.
$50 a month, okay.
As I told them, if something comes up in the future and you want us to handle more, I can get them Christie price on handling additional stuff.
Okay. Is that paid monthly, quarterly, annually?
We bill you at the end of the month.
Okay. All right. Carl, since this falls on your department, are you in favor of this? I've had some discussions with Christy, and I know all the things that she's responsible for. This is one of those little details that doesn't get a whole lot of normal attention, but it's the kind of thing that if we miss it.
We don't have a human resources department, and we're 1% to somebody, it can cost you a whole lot more than $50 before you through it. So,
This just covers vision.
it's just covers
Just vision.
DMR and dental and medical already. in the agreement.
Our only responsibility then is to let you know when an employee leaves or is terminated.
That's it. And once a year, when you change rates on your renewal day, get the new rates or the new provider, we send out open enrollment letters, which don't charge you anything for that.
Okay. All right. Any questions? I believe that this would be a good service for us in view of the fact that Christie specifically doesn't deal a lot with COBRA, and this is, again, it's just one of these small details that has some important ramifications if it's done wrong, and if it's done right on a regular basis. I think Mr. Medlin is obviously used to handling this and the details that are required there. I like the idea of him helping us.
We'll go ahead and make a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton, second by Commissioner Riddle to approve. Thank you, Mr. Medlin. We appreciate it. We look forward to dumping this on you. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you all.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this before you leave. On item 11.
Do you want Steve here? Is that what you're getting at, to have him address that? Steve, you got a second, and we'll jump down there to item 11? And you just give us a little bit of additional input. Let's jump on down to item number 11. That's consider and possibly approve the enrollment of Patricia Johnson on county health insurance. Patty is the widow of Cleve Johnson, and we would like, because we want to comply with the law is the main reason, but we also want to provide this coverage to her if she is entitled to it. And Steve, what can you tell us about this particular situation? Or you've told me, but what can you tell the rest of these
It
fellows?
was something that really took us by surprise too, for a public entity that have an employee that is dies in the line of duty. The dependents have a right to continue to stay on.
Specifically law enforcement, when you say the line of duty, is that something unique about this situation?
No, I have to look at that close. Is this strictly law?
I think it's strictly a law enforcement situation.
The state law, generally, that rule doesn't come into play, but we weren't aware of it. Unfortunately, we haven't had anybody, the lady died in line of duty. So if he died last August, we just terminated her coverage under the COBRA rules, just like we would of anybody else.
Pull that up a little to you, would you?
She became aware later on of the state law that, I don't know how long ago it was passed, several years ago, that says if a law enforcement person is killed in the line of duty, that their family has the right to stay on the insurance. It's specifically for law enforcement people, so when she brought that to our attention, we had to go around and do a few more.
Yeah,
They were saying,
they were
that's
not aware of
not,
it.
it's not the law. They said, well, it's the law specifically for law enforcement, so, I don't think we have any options about what to do here. We have to offer her the insurance, and she gets to keep it at the same rate she was paying before for the dependent coverage. She doesn't have to pay COBRA rates, anything like that. She was, I think, covers, she gets to stay on there at $280 a month. Now, I'm thinking if we change the dependent coverage rates, she'll have to adjust to those rates, but she's not, she doesn't have to use COBRA rates, which are a lot higher than that.
Yep.
She gets to stay on as if she was still alive, and she's still leaving.
Okay.
Well,
And that was new to us too, so, we learned something new today.
Well, I don't have any problem with it. Carl was talking to me about it, and I just wanted y'all here when we discuss this and stuff to make sure we're okay with everything.
Yeah, that's our understanding. We really don't have a choice, really. I mean, it is state law, so.
And Patty's relatively young, and this could go on for, for several years. and it's at a discounted rate, obviously compared to what typically an employee rate would charge, but this is a unique situation, and so this is not really a court decision, although we need court approval. It is the law. We're going to abide by the law, and a UMR has agreed to add her to the health insurance, but we do need to approve this.
Make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Fields,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of the approval of adding Patricia Johnson to our county health insurance, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thanks, Steve. Glad you thought about that, Commissioner Fields.
Excuse me, Judge.
Yes.
On the motion about hiring the COBRA participant related, we have a motion and a second, but y'all did not vote.
Hadn't voted?
Well, I thought we did. I thought I cut him off a little bit early and went ahead and accepted the approval of the vote. All right, let's go ahead and make that official. Let's jump back there to hiring Ron Medlin with COBRA. We had a motion and a second. All those in favor of the approval of hiring Ron Medlin to handle our COBRA-related division, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Bye, Steve. Item number 7, this is a repeat item. Consider and possibly approve power wash, repair, caulk, and paint of fascia and railings at the Ratliff Building by Richard Jones Construction at a cost of $2,700. We did table that. I was thinking that we had decided not to do that, but Carolyn reminded me that we had tabled that item. So any new thoughts on that?
You know my thoughts. I think that we can get that done a lot cheaper, possibly with the prisoners, and that it's not an urgent matter at all, in my opinion. It doesn't need, paint doesn't look that bad. It's not peeling, it's not chipping. It can be put off, and I don't know whether we take any bids or not, but I'm probably guessing that it would come under the remodel of that building, but it seems high to me. Could be done any time. We don't have to do it now.
Okay, if I don't have a motion, then this will die for lack of a motion. If anybody wants to talk about it, consider it, put it up for a motion, feel free to do so. Otherwise, I'm going to pass and continue on.
Judy, I'd like your comments on it.
I haven't really concentrated on the outside of it. I've been paying more attention to inside, so I haven't really looked at the outside.
Just we can use prisoners to do that for over, so you do.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has implied this is a high priority item, that we have a big problem out there. We just got a nice fresh inside, and I think that was a suggestion that came up. But this is something that could be done at a later time, and there's nothing that requires us to use the contractor.
What I'm thinking is there may be some weeks we just can't do it. There may be a whole week we get out there working on everything get done. If it's going to hurry, I think we can get it done pretty quick.
Okay.
If somebody just get with me and show me, be able to show me exactly what needs to be done, we can probably do that.
Okay.
And I don't mind getting with you, and we'll get with Richard, because I know Richard is tell us what he was going to do and things, but I think we need to go ahead and address this. If it needs painting, maintenance of the building is very important. And we can do it with prisoners and stuff. It's mostly a labor type deal, and power wash we can rent a power washer as far as that goes. But yeah, that's right. I'll get with you, then we'll go down there.
Well, you want to see this as a motion on a future agenda, or you want to make a motion here?
Well, I think we need to look and see if we can do it.
Okay.
And if there's something that we cannot do, maybe bring that part. But I know the painting and power washing and stuff like this, we can probably do that.
Okay, well, I don't have any motion made on this one. I'm going to, I'm not going to table this one, having Richard Jones Construction do that. We'll put it on a future agenda item under a different format if someone would like to do that.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to move on to item number 8, consider and possibly approve revised subdivision regulations. And it's been a while since we've dealt with these. We got past a busy month of September. but I don't want this to be forgotten. I did submit this form that I'm holding in my hands here that I've given you a copy of to Walt Sears. He said he felt like that it would pass for purposes of the state. I don't want to rush this today. If you have not had a chance to read every word here and compare it to any previous notes that you may have, I'm going to encourage you to table this. Let's give it another couple of weeks, but I don't want to postpone it past a couple of more weeks. I'm going to let Judy Kent address this. She's got a couple of comments about this, some changes that she thought we were going to interject in here that are not in here. So again, if you've read over it, you're happy with it, you want to approve it, fine. If you want to take another couple of weeks, and if you'll commit to me to reading over this and really being familiar with what it says, you know, we can put it off a couple of weeks. Judy, if you'll briefly mention some of the things that you noted in here.
Okay, we had several workshops. We worked on it several different times, and it gets pretty confusing working with one set, going to another set, going to another set. I made notes at the last workshop. Now, you know, sometimes I'm marking my own opinion, and sometimes I'm marking things we said and changes we made. But when I got this copy from Brian Lee, I was comparing it to the copy I made at the last workshop, and I showed a lot of changes, which I know were made because you were stating definite sentence structure and definite words, and somehow they're not in this set of plans, and Al can't find the ones that he used that we did at that workshop. So, you know, he's saying, I thought I got them all in this one, but maybe I didn't. So my point is, I think Brian's notes from the last workshop are going to be probably the best notes, and I would just like to make sure that the changes we made at that last workshop are in here, because I don't think they are. That was just my statement, that I saw changes I thought we made and they're not in here, so I think somehow we need to look at them and compare them to Brian's notes maybe.
Okay, well, this final revision was provided by Commissioner Riddle. Commissioner, is it possible that there's some changes that didn't get made, and do you want some additional time to go back and look at those?
Yeah, I have some notes on like the cul-de-sacs and stuff, but they're copies of your notes. But the other notes, if there's other copies that you made, like one paragraph, we inserted we were changing this paragraph up, for instance, and we kept arguing about it, and you said, I'll just write a whole new paragraph. And you did.
Yeah.
And we put that, I have that. Now, anything else, and then some of the things, and David, or Clint Bain, actually, all of the stuff concerning septic and sewerage and stuff, and then we went through the whole thing. He's really done the heavy lifting on this thing, and I thought we covered all the notes, but I guess I think, you know, some of the things that she brought up to me, like putting the word minimum on how deep a culvert's got to be or what size. I just put the name, maybe left the word minimum off, but I really don't think I did from the notes that I have. But I'd be willing to go over it and see. I'd probably like to. I'd like to see it, but I'd have to get your notes. And
Judy, do you want to give him your notes so that he can look over that, see if that sounds familiar to him?
Yes, I'll be happy to give him mine. My point is that sometimes I might have been making my own.
That's right. It may be something that we ignored, but I don't want to take that for granted.
Yours, I'd feel most comfortable with yours, but yeah, I'll be happy to give him mine.
All right. Well, I'm going to make a motion that we table this for a couple of weeks. Any changes to this document that are made, I would ask Commissioner Riddle to bring those to our attention, maybe in red, so that we can make those, we can note what the final copy is going to say or what it's proposed to say. Now, if you all want to have another brief workshop, we can do that. What do you think would be best?
I think it'd be good to get together where everybody's on the same page, and I second your motion.
Okay, motion and a second to table. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
When would you all be available this week or next week to go over this once more? Any particular day bad for you?
I won't be available the rest of the week.
The rest of this week? What about next week?
I should be.
Okay.
Any day
Would
next week.
would a Monday be okay? I'll tell you what, I'll look at my schedule, I'll give you a couple of days and times for you to look at, but we'll plan for early next week.
Okay.
All right?
I have some extra copies if someone wants one.
Is this what we got here?
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, item number 9 is consider and possibly approve change order number 12 related to the FM 4000 project. This is a closeout adjustment, a final balancing of project quantities. It is a large credit, which is a good thing, $497,000, and this is the result of cost savings that were realized during the project. We had previously on this $18.8 million project, we had $85,000 worth of previous change orders. This is a credit, again, of $497,000. A lot of this, for the most part, is quantities of materials that were not used, that were not needed, and therefore we should not be paying for. And there's no surprises here. This is what we anticipated. We had already been told about this anticipated credit or anticipated good news, so we just want to make this final closeout adjustment. Change order number 12, $497,052.56 related to FM 4000.
Make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Fields. I'll second it. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, let me sign this. Item number 10, consider and possibly allow the promoters of the Robert Arlano Dog Fest to use the county annex, the corner, the vacant office that has no lights, no heat, no air, no electricity. The promoters still feel like that would be of benefit to them if they are allowed to use that vacant corner office for registration on Friday and Saturday, October 16 and 17. Would you all allow them to use that corner?
Make a motion, we allow them to use that corner.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 11, no, that was Patricia Johnson that we finished up. Item number 12, consider and possibly approve Precinct 1 borrowing from General County Fund to cover 2014-15 budget overruns. I don't know about the rest of the commissioners, but I'd sure like to hear about this. Commissioner Riddle?
We run over about $14,000. We got a road going, 1612 County Road, and we had it designed to stop at a certain point, but the road was soft. So we decided to grind it up and lay a base down and extend it, and we bought more. It took more material than we anticipated to finish up the section of road over there. It's the most traveled road we have, 1612 in the county, in my precinct.
Was this a planned overrun or an oversight?
It was an oversight. This is where when they built the Harts Bluff, widened the road, the contractors got on that road and used it, parked all their heavy equipment and just tore it all up. And we had been patching it, and it wouldn't hold, so we had to redo the base.
At what point did you know that you were over budget?
Just when I had the base already down and it was out and dusty, and we were...
Is this something that could have been dealt with before now?
We had to buy extra coal mixer, topping to put on it, asphalt on top of it. We bought about $30,000 worth, but we had other areas where we took it from in the budget that had money left over. And I
Well, this
guess
is obviously a rare situation. I'm just curious how you're expecting us to handle this.
Well, do it every year. I remember the first year I was in, we bought a truck for Mr. Fields did and put it over to the other next year's budget. So I guess I thought it was a common practice.
I don't think so. I mean, what if one of the other county officials was standing here telling us that they had gone over the budget? How would you deal with that? What would you have to say to them?
Depending on why they went over budget.
Well, over budget's over budget. You know, I'm thinking back to the budget process when we were here a few weeks ago. I guess I now have an understanding why you asked for additional money in your precinct budget. Was it to cover this?
I don't know. Maybe you should answer that. Since you got all the answers for everything else, you should
I'm
answer
asking
that.
you a simple question.
Oh, no, you're being a horse's rear.
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay. Well, that's what I think.
Is this the reason why?
I don't want to discuss it, okay? I'm not going to answer your question, so just be quiet.
Why aren't you going to answer my question?
None of your business.
No, it's very much my business, and it's very much the business of everyone in this room. We go through the budget process, and we come down to the very end. You vote no for the tax rate, you vote no for the budget, but at the last second, you slide in a $32,000 increase for your precinct budget.
What kind of increase?
$32,000.
14,000.
No, sir. $32,000 was the amount that we increased your 2015-16 budget.
Is that right, Carl?
Yes,
That's where you put
That's where I cut
my
your
salary.
That's
That's my half of that's my salary, 32,000 is my salary, the cut on my salary.
That's correct.
Right.
But you had presented that as, you know, I'm going to lower my salary and lower my auto allowance to save money to reduce the tax rate. Well, now you've raised your budget right back up where it's consistent with every budget of these other three commissioners. There's no difference.
We didn't even want to discuss reducing spending during the budget hearings the last 2 years. So why should I be the only one?
Because that's the message that you preach day in and day out, is
Right.
cut, reduce, lower the tax rate. You know, what you've done here isn't consistent with what we hear from you on a regular basis.
I made a mistake on my...
I'm past that. I'm going back to the increase in your budget, and I simply asked you if the increase in your budget was to help cover this $14,000 budget overrun.
That's right.
Yes.
I didn't say if the increase in the budget was for, no. If I understand it correct, that's not right. We took it,
I don't think one is related to the other. I think it's two different items.
Okay.
I think he just wanted to put the money back in his budget that he had cut out for his salary.
Yeah. And my comment is that seems to be an inconsistent with the message that you preach over and over, which is to cut and reduce. And now your budget's right back in line with every other commissioner's budget. There's no difference. True?
no, it's not true.
Not true.
Not true.
Okay, all right. Well, you know, we've had to
My
do...
problem is that everybody talks about it, and we give all these false things, that we had to make hard decisions and cut expenses, and we don't cut any expenses. Anywhere, we add to our expenses. You look at our payroll 6, 7 years ago, look at our everything. We do everything. We just go on and on and on.
Well,
And so
I'm
that's
well
it.
aware of
And
that.
so why is it one person, there's not any sense in it, because if you have more money, if I don't take the money, you're going to spend it. and you're going to spend it somewhere, and we're going to have everything, and just everybody gets everything they need, and nobody does. There's not a clerk, there's not a hand here that can't think of any ways we can save money, but they're never discussed. When I bring them up in front of this Commissioner's Court, it meets silence. Nobody wants to even discuss how we might be able to save a few pennies and a few dollars here and there. So this is why. Why should we do it? Why should only one person? If you're not interested in discussing saving money...
All right, well, there's your answer. There's your answer.
Yeah.
It's an inconsistent message here. You've asked for additional money. You had an opportunity to, as you did before, to cut your budget. You did that. But yet this year, instead of retaining that savings in there, you've asked for it to be raised right back up to what everybody else's was. You know, you've overspent the budget last year. You asked for an increase this year.
I didn't ask for an increase.
You did ask for an increase. You asked for your budget to be increased by $32,000.
That's put it back in my expense from road material.
Whatever
Okay,
you
for
want to
material.
call it. Whatever you want to call it, it yielded no decrease. In fact, it was an increase. Well, I'm going to approve this. I don't have a problem, and I understand that this occasionally will happen. I would like to know about it in advance. I think that would be fair for these commissioners to know about your spending. Maybe one of them could have loaned you the money out of their budget. But to come and finish the end of the budget year and show up $14,000 short is not the way that I'd like to handle this business in the future. You know, we deal with your patronizing comments month after month after month. We dealt with that for years and years. You know, all I'm asking for, and the point I'm trying to make here is show a little respect for the gentlemen that are up here in this court, and we'll work through problems like this that come up as they come up. We'll work together to solve this stuff. All right, fellas, any other questions here? Sir?
You need a second.
I've got the amount. It's, with the,
And you're right about 14,000.
well, there's a few items on the tables list that you're going to approve, brought $193.20 more, so the actual number is
$15,481.96. Will that be the amount that you'll make the bookkeeping entry to transfer? Okay. $15,481.96 is the amount that we're going to borrow from General County for Precinct 1 to cover this 2014-15 budget overrun. I'll make that motion. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Wait a minute. That you're taking it out of this year's budget, 2016.
What I'm going to do is, we're going to, for September 30th, keep you from showing negative, we're going to borrow that September 30th.
Right.
You're going to pay it back.
Right, out of this year's budget. It's just going to be charged to next year. It's not coming from extra money into the budget. Just
Yeah, everybody understand that? Yeah. It'll be paid back essentially at the first of
we did
October.
that. Commissioner Fields did that a couple of years ago. Sure did. Did the same thing.
Just prefer not to do it that way, and I'm talking about that, and I've talked to some of the others in the past, and it's fine. Sometimes extenuating circumstances happen, and it's just a time deal. But it will affect your money for this year, because
Right.
more than $15,000 of your money for this year is already spent.
Yeah, I understand. I understood that during years past, that's what happened, so it was very clear.
Item number 14, consider and possibly approve nominations to the Titus County Appraisal District Board of Directors. This is the opportunity. 13, did I skip one? Okay, and there is a mistake on there. Consider and possibly approve Precinct 1. That should say Precinct 2 to sell a surplus Alamo ditcher head.
No, it's one. It's one.
Judge,
That's right.
okay, I had saw it, and I've got the same thing, that they're not usable anymore. They're older type models, and they do not fit what I have now, and I think that's the same scenario that Mr. Riddles had.
Did you intend for this to be on
So this-
budget for you?
Well, I had asked her to put it on there, and I thought Commissioner Riddles had put it on there, and his had already approved, and I thought 720 was
This piece of
two.
equipment for Commissioner Riddle was not already approved.
Okay, so
we're doing his
let's
first.
leave this on here for him, and I'll put mine on the next meeting or whenever.
Same type of equipment, Alamo ditcher head.
We didn't put both of them on the same time, as the company that does the selling, so it's better if you don't.
Don't
Yeah.
flood the market.
And I'm gonna sell mine more in the springtime.
Are you gonna let us spring?
Yeah, but I want to go ahead and put it on there and get it approved to sale because we can't use the piece of equipment.
Okay, so it's correct as it stands.
Yes.
Consider and possibly approve Precinct 1 to sell the surplus Alamo ditcher head.
Make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor of approval of this sale, say aye. Aye. Is this something we're going to put on the auction? Is that the best way to sell this? Item 14, consider and possibly approve nominations to the Titus County Appraisal District Board of Managers. This is the time when we simply make nominations to the list. We will vote here in December for the 5 individuals that will go on the Appraisal District Board. Let me refresh your memory who is currently serving on that board. We've got David Smith, Mike Reynolds, Bobby Parr, Ezel McGill, and David Grider. I just was notified Thursday by Geraldine that David Smith, who is Preferred's Chief Financial Officer, has asked to be removed from the nominees list. He simply cannot commit to another term on this board, and so does not want to be considered. Let me tell you who the current nominees are. At this point, these include names that were provided by other taxing entities. All of the existing 5 were renominated, plus the addition of these names: Chuck Barco, Robert Hollis, and Craig Ingram. Is there anyone else that you would like to add to this list? We can add as many, as few, or none.
Who was that first one you said? Chuck?
Chuck Barco, Robert Hollis, and Craig Ingram. Those are new names. So if you don't add any, if you don't make any nominations, these nominations stand. So it would only be anybody over and above this, unless you just want to confirm this list here.
What entities made them? Does it say? These new people, what entities?
I don't know who made these nominations on those new names, no. Well, let me ask you this way. Does anybody have an additional name that they would like to add? Okay. What about this? I'll make a motion that Titus County does not have any additional nominations over and above the current list of nominees.
That's fine with me.
Second that?
Yes.
Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor of confirming this list of nominees: Chuck Barco, David Grider, Robert Hollis, Craig Ingram, Ezel McGill, Bobby Parr, Mike Reynolds, and David Smith, that we do not have any additional names to add. All in favor, say aye.
I abstain. I don't know enough to vote about that.
Well, again, this is not a vote. We will not vote until next month. This is only nominations to the list. So there will be plenty of time for inquiry and discussion before we cast our votes. And those votes are on a weighted basis depending upon the number of votes that each taxing entity has. Item number 15, consider and possibly approve travel and seminars. The first few here are from the sheriff. We've got a request to send Mike Garcia, Lieutenant, to second annual mental health conference in Montgomery, Texas. This is optional training the 26th, 7th, 8th, and 9th of October. He'll travel on the 26th and 29th, $225 registration, $140 worth of meals, $393 in hotel, and total $758 at no cost to the county will be paid for with the SCAPP grant. Second request by the sheriff is to send Ginger Brown, Communications Supervisor, to Texas Crime Information Center Terminal Agency Coordinator class. This is in Tyler, optional training on the 28th of this month. $20 meal allowance plus fuel. Third request of sheriff is to send Evan Conrad, Corrections Officer, to Basic County Corrections course. In fact, I've got two of these, Laura Nobles and Evan Conrad. That will be in Tyler, the 5th of November through the 20th of November. There's a $180 registration plus a $30 test fee for each of these. Total meal cost at $20 per day is $240 for a total expense of $450 plus fuel, and that will be times 2 for Evan Conrad and for Laura Nobles. The sheriff also would like to send Scott Wildy, Sergeant Investigator, to Texas Sex Offender Registration Conference. That'll be in Galveston on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of November. Travel on the 16th and the 19th. Total meal cost $160, $255 worth of hotel, plus gasoline, bringing the total costs to $415, plus gas to get down there and back to Galveston. The next request is Deborah Abston, District Clerk, would like to attend the 2016 County and District Clerks Association Conference in San Marcos. This is mandatory training, January 18, 19, 20, 21, with travel on the 17th and the 21st. Registration cost of $180. Total meal cost looks like will be $180. Hotel, $800.50, taking a personal vehicle, 691 miles. Total approximate cost, $1,567. Judge Dyke, Precinct 2, would like to attend Justice of the Peace Seminar in Rockwell. Mandatory training, May 15th through the 18th of next year. Travel on those same dates, registration cost of $150. She says, please be advised, this is for training registration only. I'll turn in the rest when I know I've been accepted to the Rockwall School. That's all I have.
Make a motion, we approve travel.
Motion by Commissioner Parker.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 16, approve oral and written reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Make a motion to approve reports.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton for approval.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 17, consider and possibly approve the treasurer's report.
motion to approve treasurer's report.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton,
Second.
second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
If I can get your signature here. Item number 18, approve budget amendments.
Judge, I have three, I think I've all seen these are the three amendments of this year's budget, which I'll approve in court. The other day we approved the budget. First one is to put the $91,730 in there for the additional firefighters inside the fire contract. Number two is to put the additional $32,000 in precinct 1. Put the money back that was taken out the year before. And then the third one is just a line item change inside precinct 2 where he's moving some money around to pay some increase in salaries.
Okay, no new money, and this is in the new year.
That's right, all three of them.
Make a motion to approve budget amendments.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton for approval on these three budget amendments.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item number 19, sign pay orders and approve payments.
Make a motion to pay bills.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor of approval of signing the pay orders, approving payments, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 20, closing comments. You will recall that we approved the notification system, and we are in process of gathering the information to enable them to program that equipment properly. Carolyn, my assistant, has sent out an email to all department heads encouraging as many employees as we can possibly get to provide us with a cell phone number that would be used to send out an email text message anytime one of these buttons goes off. And we also have the ability to send out an all-clear message, but I think it would be in everyone's best interest if as many people as could possibly know when one of these panic buttons goes off, so that they would know where the problem potentially is and could seek, shelter, safety, lock their doors, turn off the lights. So we've gotten about 60 responses, I think, 60 cell phone numbers. We won't be publishing these cell phone numbers anywhere, but if you all would encourage any of your employees to join up with this, if we could get nearly full county coverage so that everyone is aware of this notification, would be great. They'll be here next week to begin the programming and installation of that new panic button system. That's all I've got. Commissioner Riddle? Any closing comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to make clear that the budgets in the past were, even in the very beginning, the first couple of years, had my full salary in there in the budget and listed as the same as the other commissioners. And this is the first year that it was this year that it was listed as less, 2015 and 2016. And second, we all had we called it Carl didn't like me to use it, we call it a contingency. We have a large amount of money left over, and like Mr. Hockaday, when he moved $200,000 he had left over. We had $137,000 left over the years before. So to get technical about a few little cents when we deal with those kind of dollars in contingency funds, a couple of commissioners used all of theirs, but the rest of us had some. Last year I had $137,000 left over. So to do this, and I know that the judge needs to make political statements every now and then, and that was merely a political statement, but him bringing that up, that's been, in my opinion.
Commissioner Fields?
Only thing I have on starting the 16th through the 24th, I want to remind everybody about the Jam Fest at the county park. If you've not been to one of those, you need to go. It's really a lot of fun, a lot of good picking and singing, and it's free. That's the best thing about it. We just want to encourage everybody, if you get an opportunity. It looks like it's going to be a perfect weekend for this. It's going to be a little cooler, not so hot. I think it's Saturday we're supposed to get down in the 80s. But if you've not been to one of those things, please go. I think you'll enjoy it. It's no cost, and the family, a whole family, I think, would really enjoy it. Okay, that'll be starting the 16th through the 24th.
Commissioner Hinton?
I have no objection.
Commissioner Parker?
I have none, Judge.
All right. I think that's all. We will be adjourned once I have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate your attendance here.